Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and in today's video we're going to be discussing all the latest Manchester United news, rumours, updates and more. We've got lots and lots to talk about in today's show. Ralf Rangnick has done a press conference today regarding the Wolves game where he's spoken about the future of Donny van de Beek, Martial, Cavani. He's made some really interesting comments on Van de Beek. He also made some comments about getting another Cavani in January, which fans are saying, is this him saying that, this Alvarez guy could happen? And, we are going to get to the Julian Alvarez news because some quite decent sources of information have said that Alvarez to Manchester United is very, very likely. I will read out what's been said, who it's come from and all of that, but we know Alvarez's agent has a meeting in Manchester tomorrow. We know Alvarez's agent is in Manchester, got a meeting with Man United tomorrow. Apparently, we're going to pay the £20 million release clause. I will get into that news in just a second. We will talk about Donny's future. We will talk about some other players. We'll do the predicted lineup, the rumoured lineup for tomorrow's match versus Wolves and more. But first of all, guys, make sure you smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. Like, share and subscribe. But let me know your thoughts on the news that I talk about throughout the live chat, as I will be reading some out. But first of all, I'm assuming you guys have just watched Liverpool-Chelsea. What a game, what a game. I'm not going to blab on for it for too long. I've made a video on that game on my second channel. But Liverpool bottling a 2-0 lead. So if we win all our games in hand, we will just be 3 points off second. If we win all our games in hand, which are against Wolves, Villa, and I think someone else that we should be able to beat, they're all winnable games, we will be 3 points off second. Win 3 games, 3 points off second, guys. Now, obviously, it's Manchester United. Are we going to win 3 games in a row? Does that seem too good to be true? Who knows? But Arsenal have dropped points. Liverpool and Chelsea have dropped points. If we can win our games, we generally will be 3 points off second if we can win all our games in hand. And, if we're not going to win the league, realistically, Manchester City are going to win the league. But if we can get second place again, it's just a bit better than fourth. It sounds weird because you get second place, you're still not winning, you're still in the top 4. But I just don't like finishing fourth. I like to finish fourth, not fifth. Don't get me wrong, but results are going away. I think a draw was a good result for Manchester United. Liverpool dropping points, brilliant for us. Also, I'm sorry, Kovacic and Kante are so good. Why can't Manchester United have a good midfield? Chelsea have such a good midfield. I just wish United could have a midfield like Chelsea. Kovacic, that goal was like mad. And I tell you what, we are going to get into the news. I'm not going to blab on about Chelsea. It's Brighton, says Nonce, a nice name. I forgot what I was going to say now. I'm not going to blab on about Chelsea too much, but because I do want to get to the news. But this is my unpopular opinion. This is my opinion. Mason Greenwood would be perfect for Chelsea. If you disagree with me, let me know why. But Mason Greenwood would be obviously. I would never let Mason Greenwood go to Chelsea. He's my favourite player. But they can't finish Chelsea. Most of their goals come from defenders, come from midfielders. They can't finish. Greenwood, when he plays as a striker, a lone striker for Manchester United, averages a goal a game. He obviously hasn't been playing as a striker because of Ronaldo. But when Greenwood plays as a lone striker for Man United, he averages a goal a game. Chelsea would give him service. He can finish. Chelsea create opportunities. They don't finish them. Look at Werner. Miss. Greenwood, unpopular opinion, would be absolutely perfect for Chelsea. I was thinking that today and all of that. And what's happening with Donny van de Beek? Well, let's just get into this story because what is the situation with Donny van de Beek? So Rangnick says that he believes that Manchester United should keep Van de Beek. He believes that Van de Beek should stay here to the end of the season and try and get as much game time as possible. Rangnick spoke to the press today. Rangnick got asked about Donny van de Beek and he spoke in his press conference today. Ralf Rangnick said that he had a long conversation with Van de Beek last week and he says that he wants to play for the Dutch national team and qualify himself to play in the World Cup in Qatar. In order to do that, he needs that game time. Rangnick also said Van de Beek wants to play. He said that Van de Beek works really hard so far. As Rangnick's got to know Van de Beek, he likes the player. He's got a top mentality. He works hard in every training session. Is a team player through and through. there will be games where he'll get his chance to play. Ralf Rangnick has said he's spoken to Donny van de Beek. Donny said he wants game time, he wants to play, he wants to go to the Qatar World Cup. Rangnick's been impressed with Donny, with his mentality, how he works hard. Rangnick said that Donny will get games, and Rangnick would like to keep Donny van de Beek to the summer. So it looks like Donny is set to stay at Manchester United and be given his chance. And maybe he could even be given his chance tomorrow. I will go into my predicted lineup and the rumoured lineup for the Manchester United versus Wolves game tomorrow. So do stay tuned for that. But I get the impression that Rangnick and Van de Beek have had a conversation, and Van de Beek's probably said to Ralf Rangnick, like, look, I want to stay. Like, I like Man United. I reckon Donny said this, look, I want to stay. I like Man United, but my priority is playing football, getting in that Dutch team for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. Donny said, if you can promise me game time, and if I work hard and get the game time I deserve, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll leave. And I think what Donny's going to do, and this is why I really respect Donny, because I believe Donny has an elite mentality. I believe Donny is going to stay, work hard, and prove that he's good enough to play for Manchester United. And I believe, unlike Ollie, Rangnick will give Donny a chance. I believe the way that Rangnick talks about how Donny's mentality is, how Donny has always been respectful to Manchester United but wants game time. I get the impression that Donny's going to stay, he's going to work hard, he's going to be given an opportunity, and he's going to try and take it. And if that isn't the case, then he will leave in the summer. I believe that Donny is good enough to play for Manchester United. I believe when Donny gets his opportunity, he will play more and more and more. I think Donny offers us something that we haven't used. And I think, Donny won't be going in January. And, he also spoke about Martial. Martial's going in January, and if you notice with Martial's been phased out the squad. Martial isn't even in the squad. Rangnick said Martial wants to leave. Why put him in the squad? I think Donny is staying in January because he's still in the squad, still in the bench. He's not playing, but he's still in the squad, and Rangnick talks about his attitude. Rangnick spoke about Martial, how he wants to leave. That's why he's not involved. I think the fact that Donny's there and that Rangnick's bringing him to the games means that Rangnick has plans for Donny. He won't leave. And I think Donny has a slightly different mentality to Martial, where Donny will generally, there's a new manager. This is a new, fresh chance for Donny. New manager, new, fresh chance for Donny. I think Donny would be willing to give Manchester United 6 more months under a new manager, under a new coaching style, because I think, unlike Ollie, Rangnick will give Donny the chance he deserves. Because the difference between Ralf Rangnick and the difference between Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was Fred was shocking versus Newcastle. Fred versus Newcastle was shocking. He took Fred off at half-time. Rangnick took Fred off at half-time. Fred had a few of those games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where he played the full 90 minutes and start the next match. When Fred had that game under Rangnick, he got subbed off at half-time, didn't play the next match. And that says to me, if players aren't informed, Rangnick will drop them. The only reason Maguire hasn't been dropped is because Lindelof has COVID and Varane's barely fit, and Bailly's going off to the AFCON of Nations. I believe if players underperform under Ralf Rangnick, they will get dropped. Rashford got dropped. Fred got dropped. Okay, yes, Donny didn't get a chance when I believe he should have got a chance versus Burnley, and I was shocked that he didn't even get subbed on. But I know Rangnick will reward players that play well and will drop players that play bad. So I generally believe that Donny van de Beek will get an opportunity at Manchester United. Frenchie Betts has asked me about Jesse Lingard. And if you want my honest opinion, I'm not 100% sure about what's going on with Jesse Lingard at Manchester United, because surely Jesse Lingard's mentality should be, I want to leave Manchester United, I want to do what I did at West Ham so I can get back in the England squad and I can go to the World Cup. If Jesse Lingard leaves Manchester United, he won't be making the money he makes now. If Jesse Lingard waits his contract down to he's a free agent in the summer, he can get a better deal at another club. If the move is about money, Jesse Lingard will run down his contract till the summer because then he can get a good deal at a new club. If it's about getting game time and wanting to play for England, I think that Jesse Lingard will leave in January. I don't think he's really in Ralf Rangnick's plans. Elanga seems to be prioritised over the likes of Jesse Lingard, if you want my honest opinion. I like Jesse Lingard, and I think, football, when you're retired, it's much harder to make money. So maybe, he's just thinking, well, my career's up in 3 years, might as well milk as many wages out of Manchester United as I still can. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Or maybe Lingard will go in January because he wants to get back into England, wants to get back in the World Cup squad. And I like Jesse Lingard. I hope Ralf Rangnick gives him an opportunity. I really do, because I do like Jesse Lingard. I think he's a good player. But one thing about Jesse Lingard is teams play very different against Man United than they do versus West Ham. When Lingard played for West Ham, he was allowed that more space, allowed to play on, with Man United, it's about breaking down teams. And I think Lingard's a good player, but I just don't think he's good enough to be starting week in, week out for Manchester United. It's going to be really, really hard for him to prove himself to be good enough for Manchester United. I know Lingard supports Manchester United. I know Jesse Lingard loves Manchester United. I think when we were playing crap, Ollie should have given him more chances because he has been quite good off the bench. But I just have a feeling that it would be very, very hard for Jesse Lingard to make a career at Manchester United. I think he needs to go elsewhere. And I hope for his sake that he does go elsewhere, he succeeds and he's successful. I mean, best case scenario is he plays amazing for Manchester United and he's a week in, week out starter, scoring goals and picking up that West Ham form. But as I said, teams play very different against Man United than they do on West Ham. What's wrong with Lindelof? Lindelof is out with COVID, by the way, guys. Lindelof is out with COVID. He should be back next week. He might be back for the Wolves game, but I think his isolation period doesn't end for another 3 days, if that's correct. And even if he has COVID, will he be dropped back into the team? And Andrew with the comment here saying we need to keep Cavani. No benefit to lose him mid-season, and he suits a Rangnick system. Very good comment there from Andrew. Guys, keep smashing the like button if you have not already. Let's go for 250 likes by the end of the video. It costs absolutely nothing to hit that like button, so please do smash a like on the video. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Regarding Edinson Cavani, this is what Ralf Rangnick said about Edinson Cavani. Ralf Rangnick said that he'd spoken to Edinson Cavani and he knows that he will definitely not let him leave in January. Rangnick said, we will definitely need Eddie. I would rather have another Eddie on top of that for me, but it's clear Eddie has to stay. So Ralf Rangnick has said that he wants Edinson Cavani to stay. He's spoken to Edinson Cavani. Edinson Cavani will not leave Manchester United in January. Ralf Rangnick has confirmed Cavani will not leave in January. And Ralf Rangnick also said, I would also like another Eddie on top of that. So Cavani stays. But what Ralf Rangnick says, and this is what us fans talking about, is he would like to get another Eddie on top of that in January. And by another Eddie, is he talking about Julian Alvarez? Because who else would he be talking about? Who else would he be talking about that could come to Manchester United in January? Tomorrow, Julian Alvarez's agent is in England. Tomorrow, Manchester United will meet with Julian Alvarez's agent. Some tier 2 sources, so semi-reliable sources, but not God tier level, have said that Man United are willing to pay this release clause. We know Alvarez is a player that would suit the 4-2-2 system because he's very, very versatile, very, very technical, got a very, very good work rate. We know he's a young player that Ralf Rangnick admires. And I will talk about Alvarez and I will talk about the news on that. But is Alvarez potentially going to Manchester United? Now, guys, let me know your thoughts on Julian Alvarez down below. I will give you a bit of information on Julian Alvarez if you're not too familiar with the guy. But what I do want to say about Julian Alvarez is he is 21 and he plays obviously in the Argentinian league. He's a player that I hadn't heard of a couple of months ago, and I'm sure most of you guys had not heard of Julian Alvarez a couple of months ago. But so far this season, in 35 matches, he has 20 goals and 12 assists. He's playing in the Argentinian First Division with 20 goals and 12 assists in 35 matches. So 32 goal contributions in 35 matches, but he's only really started like 26 of those matches, if I believe. I will try and find his stats. How many matches has he actually started? Subbed on 4. Okay, 17. So in 17 starts, Julian Alvarez has 18 goals and 7 assists this season. 17 starts, 18 goals, 7 assists. So 25 goal contributions in 17 starts at 21 years of age. No, I'm not going to lie. I've watched some YouTube clips of Julian Alvarez and I'm sold on this player. But, you know what? I've been sold on a lot of players from YouTube clips and none of them ended up being the player that we thought they would be. But about Julian Alvarez is, I want to throw this out first of all. And I will look at the chat sec. We need a CDM. As much as I like Julian Alvarez, as much as I think it's a good deal, and we know that Rangnick spotted Haaland, we know that Rangnick spotted Kimmich, we know that Rangnick has spotted players from European leagues or other foreign leagues, Firmino, Mane, Haaland, and they're all great players, and this player could be another one of these top players that Rangnick spotted for as little as 15, 16, 17 million pounds. But we need a CDM. You know, I will be a little bit annoyed if we get Julian Alvarez and we don't get a CDM for the pure chance of 20 million euros could get us Kamara, could get us Kessie, could get us Zakaria. I think we massively need a CDM. I think we're in a place where it's going to be so hard for Manchester United to get top 4. Like, it is going to be a battle for top 4. Like, Arsenal are playing really, really well. They were unlucky to drop points to Manchester City. Conte's got Spurs looking like the real deal. West Ham are a threat. Liverpool and Chelsea should be nailed on top 4. It's going to be very, very difficult for Manchester United to get top 4. And one of the reasons Arsenal have been in such good form is because, you know, that Thomas Partey has found his Atletico form. Generally, I will say this now and I will say this again. A CDM is almost the most impactful player on a pitch. Games were won and lost in midfield. A CDM can make all the difference. I remember under Van Gaal, there was a statistic of when we played with Carrick and when we didn't play with Carrick, and our win percentage was so much higher with Carrick because then we had Sneijderlin as Carrick's replacement. A CDM can make the biggest impact on any team. I generally believe it's the most important position to prioritise because look at Rodri for me. Rodri and Fabinho for me are the two best CDMs in the league. Kante isn't a CDM, he's a box-to-box if you actually watch him play. Rodri and Fabinho are the two best CDMs in the league. Who are the two best teams in the league? Man City and Liverpool, okay? Rodri I actually love. I fucking love Rodri at Manchester United. I love how he took his shirt off. I'm really riled up those Arsenal fans. Thomas Partey was a player. We like to banter Thomas Partey because he's been injured. He hasn't been brilliant. We like to banter him. Of course, they're Arsenal. We like to banter Arsenal, But Thomas Partey has been fantastic these last couple of games for Arsenal. Have you not noticed when Thomas Partey's in form, Arsenal play better? And I think Xhaka's been good as well. I generally believe the CDM is one of the most impactful, most important positions on the pitch. And as much as I love and I'm sold on this Julian Alvarez guy, I mean, 25 goal contributions in 21 starts this season at age 21. I know it's the Argentinian league, but that's still good statistics. You look at Palestri. Palestri got 2 goals in 20 games in the Uruguayan league, and we think Palestri looked good in pre-season. Imagine someone that's getting 25 goal contributions in 17 starts at 20 years of age. As much as I think this Julian Alvarez guy is a baller, as much as I like the look of this Julian Alvarez guy, I think he's going to be a fantastic player. We need a CDM. Whether it will be Kamara, whether it be Sakara, whether it be Kessie. I know that Ralf Rangnick's attitude is, and this is something I do really like about Ralf Rangnick, is what Ralf Rangnick has said about Manchester United is sometimes we buy players for the sake of buying players, but not the players we need. In the past, Manchester United haven't been able to get their first choice player, so they go and buy a couple other players. We didn't sign Sancho first time round, so we went and brought Palestri and Amad Diallo, which are young investments, but you know what I mean. In the past, Man United have almost brought players for the sake of buying players. We couldn't get our first choice centre-back, so we get our fourth choice centre-back, and the fourth choice centre-back we buy just isn't good enough. And Ralf Rangnick said this about Manchester United, and maybe Ralf Rangnick does not view Kamara, Sakari or Kessie as good enough for Manchester United. Maybe Rangnick would like a CDM, but all the CDMs that we can afford in our budget that would be under £20 million to spend in January would not be good enough for Manchester United. Maybe the only way we can buy CDM, and Fabrizio Romano did say something like that, is if we sell a player. If Donny leaves, we get money for Donny, we could get Hedera, and we know Rangnick wants Hedera. If Martial leaves and we get money for Martial, not a loan deal, and we can get Lingard to leave, we could possibly go for Hedera, the CDM. The only CDM I know that Ralf Rangnick currently wants, and Ralf Rangnick is a massive fan of, is Hedera at RB Leipzig. Rangnick likes Hedera, but he has a £30 million release clause. Hedera would like to come to Manchester United. Manchester United like Hedera. However, we know what the Glazers are like. We know what Manchester United's like. As much as we need a CDM, I don't think we'd get Hedera unless we sold anyone. I don't. I think with Julian Alvarez, because it's such a young player, a good investment that we can profit on, and he would only be £15 million, and Martial is set to go, and Martial will be off the wage bill. I think Alvarez is more realistic. I think we need Hedera more than we need Julian Alvarez, but I think Julian Alvarez is a more realistic deal, and Rangnick has been talking about wanting another Eddie Cavani. Now, guys, would you like Julian Alvarez, or would you rather have a CDM? Let me know down below. But I will talk about the Julian Alvarez deal and what's been said about Julian Alvarez. And Bleach Guy says a striker before CDM, same old, same old. And you make a good point. The problem with Manchester United is for the past 3 summer transfer windows, we've prioritised attackers over a CDM. Unfortunately, we've got loads and loads of good attackers that can't all play together, that don't actually get much of the ball because we can't progress the ball from midfield to attack. We could buy all the attackers we want, but if we don't have a CDM that can progress the midfield to attack, the attack aren't going to get the ball. So to have a good attack, you still need a good midfield. You can have the best attack in the world, but if you don't have a good midfield, you're not getting the most out of that attack. Do you think we're really getting the most out of Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Greenwood this season? No. If you said yes, you'd be lying, because we know Martial, Rashford, Greenwood and Sancho are all better than what they've been this season. We've seen glimpses of how good they can be, but they're all better than what they've been this season, okay? Do you think if we had a good CDM, we played progressive attacking football and we gave those attackers more of the ball, they would probably be better? Yes. I always think, we can buy all the attackers we want, But I do agree, Manchester United have neglected the CDM spot for the last 3 summers. It really, really frustrates me to say this, but 3 summers in a row we've neglected the CDM spot. We never replaced Ander Herrera. We never even replaced Fellaini, who I'm really glad we got rid of Fellaini. But we lost Fellaini and Herrera, and we didn't buy a single midfielder. We brought Daniel James, Harry Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka. Like, none of them could do that role. Then we brought Donny. Oh, finally we brought a midfielder. Never fucking plays him. Like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer neglected the midfield for 3 seasons at Manchester United. And I will stick up for Ole and I'll go, you know what? Maybe Ole had a harder job than we think with these players. But I will not stick up for Ole. I will not stick up for whoever was making these choices at Manchester United to neglect the midfield for 3 seasons. Because I said the summer that we lost Herrera, why haven't we got a CDM? I said the summer after, even though we failed to get Jadon Sancho, why did we not get a CDM? I said last summer, I love that we got Ronaldo, but why haven't we got a CDM? United have been prioritising everything over a CDM. And this is where it's biting us. It's absolutely biting us because, you know, we're sitting here this season going, oh my God, we might not miss out on top 4 because we don't have the midfield. You know, we've known this for 3 years that we needed a CDM. We haven't gone and got one. Like, why? Why have we neglected the CDM role for so long? McTominay and Fred have had good games for Manchester United, but they're not consistent. You know, McTominay and Fred could be the next Kante and Kimmich. You know, could be the next Xavi and Iniesta, and they could be absolutely brilliant. But we still need a CDM just for at least that balance because they can't play every single game. Matic can play for 60 minutes, has to miss the next game, will play again a week later. Matic was pivotal in that win versus Burnley. Matic was the reason Scott McTominay was so good versus Burnley because Scott McTominay is a box-to-box midfielder, not a CDM. Everyone knows that. Matic did the defensive duty so Scott could get through and have a box-to-box role. Scott McTominay was fantastic versus Burnley. Matic will not be able to play versus Wolves because he just does not have the legs to play versus Wolves anymore. Imagine a top CDM. You know, Scott McTominay is a box-to-box player. Fred's a box-to-box player. All Fred's best work for Manchester United has come where he's pressed high up the pitch and won the ball back. Donny's a box-to-box player. Imagine Fred, Donny, and McTominay all in the box-to-box role with a top CDM next to them. You look at Thomas Souček. He's brilliant, but he plays better when Rice is next to him because he can go forward. He can have that impact. And Scott McTominay plays better as a box-to-box. Fred plays better as a box-to-box. They can't play as a box-to-box unless they have a CDM next to them, and Matic can't play every week. So Fred and McTominay have to play together, and they don't work together. Everyone knows that Fred and Scott just don't work together. They don't complement each other because they're both box-to-box players having to play as a CDM, and because they're not a CDM, they can't break the lines. They're also not defensively that good. They're not defensively that good. You know, Scott and Fred conceded 5 goals to Liverpool, conceded 4 goals to Watford. Do you know what I mean? We have a crap defensive record, and because we've neglected the CDM spot. And it infuriates me that how many summers we've neglected the CDM spot. I don't know. Bleach guy said we should be over Basuma. Look, I would absolutely love Basuma at Manchester United. I watched him for Brighton the other day. Who dropped points to Brighton the other day? I can't remember, actually. I watched Basuma for Brighton the other day. It was Chelsea, wasn't it? He was absolutely brilliant. You know, when Man United play Brighton, Basuma controls the midfield. Look, Basuma's out of contract next year. Basuma's out of contract in 18 months, which means this summer, I don't think you would go for any more than 30 million because he'll be a free agent the next summer. I generally think Basuma could be one of the deals of the season. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe down below. We're in the January transfer window right now. There's a few players that will be leaving Manchester United, and there could be a few players that are joining Manchester United. So if you want to know as soon as we sign a player, if you want to know as soon as we sell a player, please do subscribe down below. But actually, I've been waffling. What is happening with Julian Alvarez? What has been said? Okay, so Julian Alvarez, if you don't know who he is a 21-year-old that plays in the Argentinian league. He has 25 goal contributions in 17 starts this season at age 21, which is fantastic. Julian Alvarez this season has played as a centre forward and a right winger mostly, but he can even play on the left. His preferred role is a centre forward role, and people do say that Julian Alvarez is the next Messi. You know, he's a young Argentinian starting his career as a centre forward, but he can also play on the right, the 2 positions Messi play. He's getting goals and assists pretty much every game he plays in the Argentinian league. Julian Alvarez has almost been referred to as the next Messi because he's very, very two-footed, but he's a very, very technical dribbler. Now, I've read some scout reports on him. I've watched some videos on him. He's very, very good with the ball at his feet. He's a technical dribbler. He looks nice on the ball. You know, you know, I'm not going to compare him to Messi. I'm not going to compare him to Hazard. Like, that would be silly. But you know, when you look at a player and they're aesthetically pleasing to watch, he has that aspect. Kind of like Sancho, except, you know, good on the ball. He's a brilliant finisher as well. You know, you can be a fantastic player, but if you can't finish, you don't score goals. This guy, again, reminds me of Mason Greenwood with his finishing. He's quick, but he's also physical. He's also good with his head. He's good with his feet. From what I've watched and what I've read about Julian Alvarez, he's an incredibly all-rounded player. Good with both feet, a brilliant finisher, a technical dribbler, a skillful player, an intelligent player, and we lack a bit of intelligence in that attack. The link-up play has been awful, the chemistry has been awful, but flexible, versatile, and yes, he has been compared to the next Messi. Realistically, he's not going to reach that level because no players are really going to reach the level of Messi or Ronaldo. It's going to be very, very rare to we find a player that can do. But Julian Alvarez is a baller. He's a centre forward, he's a right winger, and I think he would suit Rangnick's system very, very well. We know with RALF Rangnick, he found Haaland in the Norwegian league, brought him to RB Salzburg. Rangnick was on Haaland. We know that Rangnick's discovered Mane. We know Rangnick's discovered Firmino. He's even discovered more defensive players like Kimmich. We know RALF Rangnick has a good eye for a player, and I'm absolutely more than happy for Manchester United to sign Julian Alvarez. The only thing I'm not happy with is, okay, we're going to spend 15 million on Julian Alvarez potentially. Where is that going to go on a CDM? I don't know. Rangnick wants Alvarez. Alvarez's agent is in England and will be talking with Manchester United tomorrow. All Manchester United have to do to sign Alvarez is pay that release clause, and we'll have to wait and see if we do it. But this is exactly what has been said. Now, this is from a tier 2 source. So the MUFC MPB page on Twitter, they've ranked all the sources for me. So and tier 1 is like very, very reliable. Tier 2 is decent, and in tier 3 and 4, you don't listen to them. If any news comes from a tier 1 or tier 2 source, it's got some credibility. And this source has been ranked tier 2. It's come from Roberto Rojas, and it says that sources in Argentina say that Alvarez's agent, Fernando, is traveling to Europe to meet with numerous clubs to hopefully reach a deal for Alvarez. Meetings will take place in London, Manchester, Madrid, and Milan. So that's another person confirming the meeting with Alvarez's agent in England tomorrow in Manchester and Manchester United. It also has been said by another tier 2 source, Diaro Ollie Lowell, says that Manchester United are in pole position and actually the favourites to sign Manchester United. And a tier 1 source, guys, this has come from a tier 1 source, Thai C Sports, says that Manchester United are the favourites to sign Julian Alvarez. So we're the favourites to sign Julian Alvarez. We're in pole position to sign Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez's agent is in England and will be meeting Manchester United representatives in Manchester tomorrow to discuss a deal. And another tier 2 source has said that Julian Alvarez is close to joining Manchester United and the club will pay his release clause. So lots and lots of decent sources talking about Alvarez to Manchester United. And, you know, tier 2 sources, again, El Pays has said that Manchester United will pay the release clause. So we know that Alvarez's agent is going to Manchester. We know that Rangnick likes him. We know that we're in for Alvarez. But tier 2 sources have said we'll pay the release clause. Now, tier 1 sources have confirmed that we're in for Alvarez. We like him. We're in pole position to sign Alvarez. And there's a meeting in Manchester tomorrow to sign Alvarez. Tier 2 sources have said we'll pay the release clause, but no tier 1 sources said we'll pay the release clause yet. But I don't want to sit here and say we'll sign Julian Alvarez because it's Manchester United. We get linked to every player under the sun. We've been so close to signing so many players and we didn't sign any. You know, Fabrizio Romano hasn't spoke loads about it. I think if the Athletic get talking about it, if Fabrizio Romano get talking about it, I will be confident that it could potentially happen. You know, it hasn't hit the 2 best journalists for me, which is the Athletics, people that write for the Athletic and Romano. But it's some very, very credible journalists are talking about Alvarez to Manchester United. And I say keep an eye on this. There's obviously the meeting in Manchester tomorrow. Something could happen with Alvarez to Manchester United this week. Something could generally happen. Rangnick wants him. He's a good player. All we've got to do is pay his release clause. He's obviously, Man United are talking to his representatives. We're obviously interested in the guy. Something could happen this week for Alvarez to Manchester United. He's got a €20 million release clause, which is around £16 million. So definitely something could really happen this week. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel, because if we do sign Julian Alvarez and it gets a done deal, I will be live right away to announce it. As soon as we sign a player, as soon as we sell a player, as soon as we get that here we go from Fabrizio Romano, I'll be live to update you guys. So if you want to know as soon as we buy a player, as soon as we sell a player, or as soon as we're about to sign a player, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the January transfer news. As well, I will be live tomorrow night for the Manchester United versus Wolves watch-along. So I do watch-alongs every Manchester United games, match previews, match reactions, and more. So do make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already. And keep smashing a like on the video, guys. let's go for 250 likes. If you've not smashed that like button, please do smash that like button as well. What I do want to throw out, guys, is if Manchester United win all their games in hand, we will just be 3 points off second place Liverpool. If we can win all our games in hand, we're 3 points off second. I never thought I would be saying that as well. McTominay can wear the number 4 shirt next season. Nope. And Alice, do you think Bruno was holding us down after being overworked? Is a comment here by Reckless Llama, and I think Bruno's our most important player. I think we're not a better team without Bruno. I think anyone that believes we're a better team without Bruno is silly. He's carried us to top 4 these last 2 seasons. However, I think Bruno has been overplayed. He has been tired. I think he needs a break to refreshen up. Luke Shaw, and I'm a massive fan of Luke Shaw. I will throw that out. I love Luke Shaw, and I always said Luke Shaw's different form for me was he played constantly through the Euros, and he had to play constantly again. Tellers got injured at the beginning of the season, so Luke Shaw pretty much played a game every single week from January to October to even November, 2021. Luke Shaw pretty much played for 11 months straight. He did, and I'm a big admirer of Luke Shaw, but I said, I think Luke Shaw's dropping form is because he's been overworked. Luke Shaw's last 2 games for Manchester United has been absolutely fantastic. And I think Bruno just doesn't need to play every game. I think we do overwork Bruno. And I think Bruno's dropping form would be because Bruno is just being overworked. If you get what I mean. So I think Bruno's important. I think Bruno should start the majority of our games. But yeah, keep smashing that like button if you have not already. And Andrew says, I think we should get Alvarez, but he will likely take time to adapt. And historically, we have not had the best of luck with South American players. Very, very good point there from Andrew. I would like Alvarez, as I said earlier. I think he's a brilliant player. But again, he's from a different league. He would definitely take a season to adapt. He's not going to have that instant impact. It's always a risk with South American signings. But I think when it's £15 million, and that's the same we spent on Dan James, and his stats are pretty insane. And, going off Ralf Rangnick's track record, going off what I've seen and read about Julian Alvarez, and going off the very little price, it's a risk worth taking. But again, he's got to have time to adapt, and historically, definitely things to do. And this guy says that Julian Alvarez would be one of the best signings. He would become our own Sergio Aguero. He's a total poacher. He has so many attributes as a striker, has a great future. What a sign it could be. He's a poacher, but he's also a great finisher as well. You make a very good point there. And just best not to over-expect with Alvarez. He will likely take time to adapt. Exactly. 100%. Exactly as well. Plus, Paul says we need a CDM this window, which we're talking about earlier. Guys, smash a like on the video if you want Manchester United to go out and sign a CDM, because we absolutely need to get a CDM. We need one so badly. And this comment says, I think Maguire needs to lose captaincy at least. He's not the best captain of the team. If you agree with me that Harry Maguire should not be Manchester United captain, smash a like on the video, because for me, Harry Maguire is not a captain. I think you can agree with me. I like Harry Maguire. I don't have an issue with Harry Maguire. I think there's a good player in Harry Maguire. But I know Harry Maguire is not a captain. Harry Maguire is not a captain. Harry Maguire has never been a captain. He's just not captain material. He never really has been. I remember when Harry Maguire was playing well, I still said Bruno should be captain. I remember when we lost 6-1 to Spurs, and this will always stick out to me. When Manchester United lost 6-1 to Spurs and Martial got unfairly sent off, Rashford was going off and complaining at the ref. Maguire said to Rashford, VAR looked at it. VAR must be right. Don't complain at the ref. Our captain didn't do anything when Martial got sent off unfairly in a 6-1 loss to Spurs. He just said, VAR must be right. Ronaldo is a captain. Bruno is a captain. De Gea is a captain. Harry Maguire is not a captain. Victor Lindelof commands more than Harry Maguire. If you watch the Manchester United defence, if you watch our back four, Victor Lindelof does a lot more commanding than Harry Maguire. Lindelof, if anything, is more of a captain than Harry Maguire. And if you agree that Harry Maguire shouldn't be Manchester United captain, smash a like on the video. But what I do want to do, and what I've been trying to do for the last few minutes while I've been blabbing on, is share my screen with you guys to talk about the Wolves match, talk about how we could line up versus Wolves and all of that. So on my screen we're not going to play a 4-3-3, so we're going to play 4-2-2 versus Wolves. Okay, he's not changing from the 4-2-2. It's pretty self-explanatory. We know David De Gea is going to play. That again is pretty self-explanatory, and Ronaldo is going to play. That's pretty self-explanatory. Scott McTominay will not be dropped. He had a brilliant game. Let's be honest. And Luke Shaw, I think, will play because he's better than Tellez. And I think Maguire will have to play because Bailly's flying to the African Cup of Nations. Lindelof has COVID and I don't believe he'll be back. And Varane's a little bit rusty. So I think using common knowledge, all these players on our screen will start tomorrow versus Wolves. Now, the question is, who starts in the other positions? Because Matic was good, but can Nemanja Matic play week in, week out? Can Nemanja Matic play again for Manchester United? And if we're being realistic, you know, I'd like Matic to play, but he's not going to. It's going to be Fred. Realistically, it's probably going to be Fred. We could maybe see Donny, but I think the fact that Dalot and Fred came on ahead of Donny versus Burnley says to me it could be Fred. Okay? Now, I think Sancho had a good game, and I don't think Sancho will be dropped. I also think Dalot will play because I just think he's been better than Wan-Bissaka lately. But this is the thing. Now, actually, I'm actually going to put an X here. These are the two spots that are up for grab at Manchester United. These two spots here, player 6, player 8. The cam role and the CDM role. These are the two spots that are up for grabs at Manchester United. We're thinking of the Wolves game. This is not the lineup I would play. This is the lineup that realistically I think we will play. You know, and I've predicted a few lineups right. You know, we've got a decent track record. And I think, okay, I generally believe that Cavani will be rested because we know that Cavani can't play loads. I think Cavani will be rested and he will come on as an impact sub. I generally believe Cavani will likely be rested, okay? So I think that's the first thing. I think Rima will be the striker. Maybe he'd give Elanga a go. But you know what? This is the question mark. Is it going to be Bruno? Is it going to be Rashford? Is it going to be maybe Elanga? I doubt it. Is it going to be Donny? Bruno, Rashford, and Donny can all play this role. And you know what? Part of me would like to put Donny van de Beek in there. Part of me would. There's a part of me that thinks, you know what? With the way Rangnick's been talking about Donny van de Beek, it could be very, very likely that Donny gets a chance at Manchester United. With the way he's been spoken about and all that, it's likely that Donny could get a decent chance at Manchester United coming soon. However, you know, when Rangnick's played Donny, it's been in that deeper role. So will he start Bruno? Because, you know, Bruno hasn't been good and we look better without Bruno. But if I'm going to be all honest with you, Greenwood was impressive, Sancho was impressive, Ronaldo was impressive. I think Cavani will be rested. I think it will be Rashford or Bruno. I think it will be Rashford and Bruno. Everybody get in the live chat. Everybody get involved in the live chat and let me know who do you think's going to play tomorrow. Let me know your predicted lineup. Let me know your predicted lineup down below. I think it will be Bruno. Because you know what? Wolves are all Portuguese, Bruno's Portuguese. This is the one where I go, is he going to go with Fred? Because he's rested Fred. He's rested Fred, okay? However, he noticed that, but the thing is, he's rested Fred, so realistically it could be Fred playing. However, Rangnick noticed that Scott and Fred didn't work versus Newcastle. And Rangnick hasn't, and he didn't play Scott and Fred the last game. You know, Rangnick's played a game and a half without Scott and Fred together because he almost like he noticed it didn't work. So could he try something different and go, well, we need to break down Wolves. We need to take more control of the midfield. And actually, Fred was the worst player on the pitch last time we played versus Wolves and played on him. Because Matic hasn't got the legs to play this game. He's just played the last game. Fred was poor in his last game under Ralf Rangnick. And Ralf Rangnick's probably realised that Scott and Fred don't work together. Fred was also atrocious in his last game against Wolves. So will it be Donny and Scott? The only problem is, if it's Donny and Scott, it's two box-to-box midfielders. So surely Donny and Scott would cause the same problems as Donny and Fred. However, Donny has something that Fred can't offer. Donny has something that Fred won't be able to offer, and is Donny can keep the ball. Fred loses possession easily. Fred gives it away easily. And the reason, even though we beat Wolves, third game of the season under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we did not deserve to beat Wolves because we gave the ball away a lot and Wolves couldn't finish. Fred kept giving it away, kept losing the ball out. He just wasn't on it. And for me, I would start Donny van de Beek. I would start Donny and Fred in the pivot, but I think McTominay doesn't deserve to be dropped. I would generally play Donny and Fred in the pivot. But for me, this is my predicted lineup. This is generally my predicted lineup. And you're probably going to think I'm mad. You're mad, Alice. How are you predicting that Donny's going to start this game? Like, what makes you think Donny's going to start this game? Matic won't play. I think Donny could start. It sounds crazy because he didn't even get subbed on the last two games. He's played 2 games with absolutely no minutes. But the way Rangnick spoke about him in his press conference, the way that we know Matic will probably not play, Fred hasn't been brilliant his last game. We want something different versus Wolves. We played McFred versus Wolves last time and it wasn't brilliant. Maybe Donny could play. Maybe it's me hoping Donny will play because I think realistically it's more likely Fred will play. But you never know. You never know. How about the £120 million Rice bid, Alice? That Man United will not pay that kind of money for Rice. It's just all rumours and all of that. And Donny can be captain. That'd be hilarious. Maguire won't be Man United captain next season. I agree. Generally, guys, I'm going to say something. I generally think when Lindelof, Bailly and Varane are all fit and back, I think Maguire will be dropped. I generally do. Varane isn't 100% fit. Lindelof has COVID and Bailly's going off to AFCON. But I generally think that Maguire is at threat and very likely to get dropped if all things do continue the way that it's going. Lindelof is more vocal than Maguire. I've always said this, guys. Have you noticed when Manchester United play, it's Lindelof doing the commanding at the back and not Maguire? Lindelof is more of a captain than Harry Maguire, but this club absolutely love Harry Maguire, so it's just the way it is. But yeah, you're right. Lindelof is so much more vocal, so much more of a leader than Harry Maguire. And I don't have a Harry Maguire agenda. I actually have always said that when Harry Maguire is good, he's a good player. There's a good player in Maguire. He just deserves to be dropped. He hasn't been good lately. But he's not a captain. Even when Maguire was good, I've always thought Maguire, you know what, that Maguire, he ain't a captain. He's a good player, but he's not a captain. And right now, when he's not a good player because he's not in good form and he shouldn't be playing. And I think Lindelof, I've always said Lindelof's more of a leader than Maguire. And, I think one of the stupidest things Ollie did was giving Harry Maguire captaincy after being at the club 6 months. He'd only been at the club 6 months and he got captaincy, Harry Maguire. People like David De Gea have been like, I've been here years and he's given this tosser Maguire who hasn't even been that good captaincy. Maguire, okay, he's an £80 million centre-back. He's a centre-back, he's British. I'm sure he's hard-working. I'm sure he's a good lad. Yeah, I'm sure Maguire's a good lad. But you can't, to be at Manchester United for 6 months and get captaincy is a joke, okay? Especially if you haven't been amazing. If you've come in and you've transformed the team like Bruno did and you had the impact and you're as good as Bruno was and you have the leadership quality Bruno has, maybe give someone like Bruno captaincy after 6 months. Ronaldo has been at Manchester United longer than 6 months, technically, if you get what I mean. Give it to Ronaldo. But I don't think any other manager would have given Maguire captaincy in that. If it was any other manager other than Ollie, I don't think Maguire would have been given captaincy. I think it would have been given to De Gea. I think it would have been given to someone that had been at the club a little bit longer because everybody knows Harry Maguire is not a captain. He's never been a captain. He doesn't have the leadership qualities. Lindelof commands the defence. Luke Shaw has more leadership qualities. Luke Shaw's the one that comes and speaks out about situations. When does Maguire do that? Do you know what I mean? Scott McTominay, I've criticised him a lot, but I tell you what, you can tell he has leadership skills. You could tell Scott McTominay if Scott McTominay plays like he did the other day and turns into a good box-to-box midfielder and reaches his potential and brings consistency and he's good enough to play for Manchester United, he has the mentality to be a captain. But Maguire, not once, has ever had the mentality to be a captain. And honestly, it absolutely shocks me. Absolutely shocks me. That Maguire's captains. Guys, smash a like on the video if you agree with me that Harry Maguire should not be Manchester United captain. If you think Harry Maguire should be stripped to captaincy, it should be given to De Gea, it should be given to Ronaldo, smash a like on the video. And please do, by the way, subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and more, make sure you smash a like on the video, but also subscribe as well, as I will be updating you on all the latest January transfer news. As soon as we sign a player, I'll go live. As soon as we sell a player, I'll go live. So if you do want to stay up to date with what's going on in January, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're 50 subscribers away from 26.4k, so please do subscribe down below. This guy says drop Ronaldo and start winning games. Ronaldo is the problem. He is holding back the team. Bad comment of the day. Honestly, let's be real. Ronaldo is not the issue at Manchester United. Ronaldo has 17 goal contributions and 17 starts at Manchester United. A player that will turn 37 next month, who's playing in the graveyard shift for a Manchester United side that's given him no service, has managed to get 17 goal contributions. 19 goal contributions and 18 starts because he got 2 in the last game. Ronaldo has 19 goal contributions in 18 starts at Manchester United this season. And he's in 37 next month. He's playing in the graveyard shift with a lack of service. Not only have United been crap, and not given Ronaldo any service, 19 goal contributions and 18 starts in the hardest league in the world and in the Champions League, and he's going to be 37 next month. A player that's going to turn 37 next month is the reason Manchester United got out of their Champions League group. We wouldn't be in the Champions League right now if it wasn't for Ronaldo. You know, Ronaldo is not the problem at Manchester United. At 37, he's going to be 37 next month. He's carried us in the Champions League. He has 19 goal contributions in 18 starts this season, playing in the graveyard shift, getting literally no service to the Manchester United. Yet some fans still think Cristiano Ronaldo is the reason we've dropped off. He is not. Ronaldo has the mentality. He works hard. He improves players around him. Okay, the only negative thing about Cristiano Ronaldo is I think it hinders Greenwood's development. There's only two negatives about Cristiano Ronaldo joining Manchester United, and one, Bruno's role is less about scoring goals and more about creating, and I think that's why Bruno maybe Bruno's potentially dropped off, because instead of he would normally be where Ronaldo is scoring those goals, but instead he's creating, and maybe he's trying too hard to over-create, and that's why he's giving the ball away a lot. Maybe Greenwood's development has hindered since Ronaldo's come, because when Greenwood plays as a striker, he scores a goal a game. Greenwood's not as good as a right winger. The only negative for me about Ronaldo joining Manchester United is I think it makes Greenwood worse. I think it makes Bruno worse, but it doesn't make the team worse. It doesn't make the team worse, okay? Because any guy that gets 19 goal contributions and 18 starts for a side that is playing crap is good. 19 goal contributions and 18 starts for a side that's playing crap, that's crazy. To be a Manchester United striker with no service and do that, that's crazy. But to be 37 next month, doing that in the hardest league in the world and carrying us through the Champions League, Ronaldo is not the problem at Manchester United. You can drop Ronaldo. Go drop Ronaldo. Do what you want with Ronaldo. But he is important. Ronaldo wins us goals. You know, Manchester United do not dominate games. You know, it wouldn't matter if it was Martial playing instead of Ronaldo. I will say this now. United do not dominate games, and because we do not dominate games, we need a player that's going to score those goals. You know, you look at Liverpool, you look at Manchester City, they can create 10, 20 chances a game, and, you know, Man City don't have a striker, and if Man City drop points, it's because they don't take their chances. With Manchester United, there hasn't really been a game this season where we've had 6, 7 clear-cut chances. A lot of other Premier League teams and a lot of teams that play Manchester United miss a lot of chances. If you look at that Newcastle game, Newcastle had more chances than us. If you look at that Norwich game, Norwich had more chances than us. If you look at that Burnley game, Burnley had an equalish amount of chances than us. I think we deserved to beat Burnley. I think we were better. But when you're Manchester United aren't dominating games, you know, we can't control the midfield. We never win the midfield battle. If you look at Manchester United this season, and I think Scott's been good, I think Fred's been good recently, but we're not winning the midfield battle. Every midfield we play, I mean, Joe Linton and Longstaff looked good against McFred. Joe Linton and Longstaff won a midfield battle against McFred. I think that says it all. We don't win the midfield battle in any of our games, so we can't control games. So because we're not controlling games, we generally have to rely on the attackers coming up with individual brilliance because we don't provide them much service. And if you drop Ronaldo for someone else, you know, Ronaldo can come out with this volley, this header. Ronaldo can just make something happen. And a lot of players at Manchester United can make something happen. But if you look at a lot of Ronaldo's goals, it's been a winner out of nowhere. Manchester United have been playing crap. It looks like nothing's going to happen. And Ronaldo just scores a stunning goal, was in the right place at the right time to get a winner out of nowhere. Majority of Ronaldo's goals have been good timing goals and goals to win us games. And when you're playing bad football, you need a player that's going to come up in the moment and score the goal. So for me, if you think Ronaldo's from Manchester United, I disagree. I will agree Ronaldo's hindered Greenwood's development because Greenwood was doing much better before Ronaldo came in. And I think Greenwood wants to be the sole striker. He's not going to be. I think Bruno has to adapt his game since Ronaldo's come for the pure reason of, you know, Bruno's got to be more creative, and maybe that's why Bruno's dropped the form and giving the ball away a lot. But Ronaldo's not the problem at Manchester United. If we're being realistic, and I did a video on this on TikTok, you know, I called out TalkSport because whenever I watch TalkSport, or whenever a clip of TalkSport comes up on my screen, they're talking about Bruno, they're talking about Ronaldo. They'll say, Man United will be better without Bruno. Man United will be better without Ronaldo. Not once have I heard TalkSport go, United will be better without Maguire. Not once have I heard anyone in the mainstream English media, any mainstream pundits go, Man United will be better without Maguire. All the pundits, all the mainstream media say we'll be better without Ronaldo. They'll say we'll be better without Bruno. Ronaldo and Bruno are not the problem at Manchester United. You know, they've been inconsistent, but they're top players. Maguire, right now, should not be playing over Lindelof, should not be playing over Bailly, and should not be playing over Varane. But no one wants to talk about it. Everyone's too focused on Ronaldo doesn't press. Ronaldo's the issue. For me, Ronaldo is not the issue at Manchester United as well. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you subscribe. I will be live at 5:15 tomorrow, 5:15 UK time tomorrow for the Manchester United versus Wolves watch along. So do make sure you subscribe to the channel for the Manchester United versus Wolves watch along. 5:15 tomorrow. I will be doing a match reaction and watch along for Wolves tomorrow. And throughout the transfer window, I'll be giving you all the latest Manchester United news updates and more. But keep smashing the like button if you have not already, and subscribe down below. Top two contenders, Captain Ronaldo and Varane. Greenwood and Ronaldo doesn't work, and it hasn't worked out yet, but maybe it will work, but I do agree with you on that. And Maguire should be dropped for a few games and have to earn his place in the first team. I do agree, but I think he can't be dropped because Bailly's going off to the African Cup of Nations, Lindelof has COVID, and Varane isn't fit. But I think when everyone's back, he should be dropped. And as Paul says, guys, let's get up to 200 likes and smash that like button. Yes, please do keep looking, smashing that like button. Cavani should play. I would play Cavani. However, Cavani's played 2 games in like 4 days, and I don't think Cavani has the fitness to play, especially when he's just come back from injury. So that's why I don't think Cavani will start. Andrew says Maguire should have never been captain. He just came practically and handed it. Sadly, haven't had a proper captain in many years, which is absolute facts from Andrew. And some people blame De Gea, and this is the problem for not getting many clean sheets. I mean, look, there are Man United fans that will blame De Gea for things. I mean, anyone that wants to blame De Gea, Ronaldo for us having a bad season, they're not. Like, De Gea has been our best player. I remember when De Gea made that silly mistake. I can't even remember what game it was. And there was fans on Twitter saying this is why Henderson should play. De Gea has been our best player this season. Ronaldo has high standards. Our young players need to reach the same heights. They can learn and do that from Ronaldo. Fair enough. And we just don't play to Ronaldo's strengths, and he's still producing. I don't even see him hindering others' developments. Just need a proper system implemented. And this is a good point from Andrew, because I was generally thinking this the other day. You look at Manchester City. Look how dominant Manchester City are. Look how many chances they get. You know, if you look at a lot of the games Manchester City have lost, it's because they haven't finished their chances. They've been no one in the box to head that ball. They've got no number 9 presence in the box, Manchester City. I generally think if Ronaldo was playing for Manchester City right now, he would probably have 20 goals already. I think he would generally have 20 goals this season. Which, you know, might sound mad. You might go, what are you on about, Alice? No, generally. Ronaldo is scored So Ronaldo has 19 goal contributions and 18 starts for a Manchester United side that's given him no service and been absolutely crap. Look at how much service City provide. Look at how good the system is at Manchester City. Imagine how many goals Ronaldo would have if he was at a side like Manchester City. I actually hate to say it, but it's just true. We're not playing to Ronaldo's strengths. Alice to replace Darren Fletcher. I don't know what Darren Fletcher does. I could replace Darren Fletcher, but I couldn't tell you what Darren Fletcher's job is, because 1 minute Darren Fletcher's on the sideline shouting orders, and then the next minute Darren Fletcher's the technical director, and he's meant to be in the consultancy role. Now, what does Darren Fletcher do at Manchester United, guys? What does he do? I do not know. Best thing that ever happened to Leicester was selling Maguire. I mean, Leicester City fans must be going 80. Leicester City fans got 80 million for Maguire. Leicester City, sorry, got 80 million for Maguire. I mean, look. Maguire isn't a bad player. Like, let's be honest, we are disrespecting Maguire a little bit, I think, at the moment because of his form. Maguire isn't a bad player. Maguire was very, very good in the Euros. Maguire was very, very good towards the end of last season. And when Maguire did get injured last season, we missed him. Maguire isn't a bad player. The problem is, when Maguire's in bad form, he's a bad player. And Maguire's in bad form. And if you're in bad form, you should be dropped. And when Maguire's in good form, I think he's good enough to play for Manchester United. I don't think Maguire will ever be a top centre-back. But when Maguire plays well, he is good enough to play for Manchester United. I will say that now. But he hasn't played well for a while, and he should be dropped. You know, honestly, Maguire should be, and whatever his form is, he still should be captain. But 80 million for Maguire is, I mean, it's an absolute robbery. Unless he turned like Van Dijk or Diaz, it was never going to be worth it. And we all knew he wasn't going to turn out like Van Dijk or Diaz. He's just too slow as well. Greenwood and Ronaldo doesn't work. I agree. If Man City had signed Ronaldo, he would have scored 30 goals by now. I agree. Honestly, yeah. His work ethic and leadership and predator instincts to mention, but a few of one of the reasons he is Mount Rushmore with other greats. If I was a young player at United, I would learn much from him. Talking of Ronaldo, it's just worth, you know, Ronaldo. I think, look, for me, Ronaldo is my GOAT. Ronaldo was my GOAT because, unlike Messi, Ronaldo has managed to go to every team in every league and have an impact. what he's done for Portugal and have an impact. He's more flexible. Ronaldo could play for any team in the world and score a hat-trick because he's Ronaldo. He doesn't need much to score a hat-trick, whilst Messi, I think, does need a good system. However, I think Messi was always born more talented than Ronaldo. But I think the reason that Ronaldo is at the level that Messi is at is because Ronaldo's worked hard. I think Ronaldo is probably the hardest working footballer that ever be. You know, we used to hear stories about when Ronaldo was really young at Manchester United and he would be at training an hour early. You know, I think the reason Ronaldo has got to the level he is because he's probably one of the hardest working footballers with one of the best mentalities of all time. And I think you can say what you want about Ronaldo. There's Ronaldo haters out there that will criticise him. They'll say Ronaldo scored a goal, but it doesn't matter. It's a tap-in. One thing you can never criticise about Ronaldo is mentality, his work rate. And, you know, he plays for the badge, Ollie's favourite thing. But, you know, one thing about Cristiano Ronaldo is he is the hardest working player ever in football. Because I don't think I think Messi's always been more naturally gifted than Ronaldo. But I think the reason Ronaldo's in the same bracket as Messi is because of how hard he works. I generally think that. Alvarez news. So Ralf Rangnick made a comment about getting another Eddie Cavani in. So people suspect, is this something about Alvarez to Manchester United and all of that? There's Julian Alvarez's agent is in England. There will be a meeting between Julian Alvarez's agent and Manchester United tomorrow. That's the situation. And apparently, according to a Tier 2 source, we are willing to pay money for Alvarez. So the situation with Julian Alvarez to Manchester United is very much that Manchester United want Julian Alvarez. Rangnick wants Julian Alvarez. Alvarez's agent is in Manchester. But will Man United pay the release cost for Julian Alvarez? We have to wait and see if we do that. Or will Julian Alvarez go to Bayern Munich? Is there another team that Julian Alvarez potentially prefers to Manchester United? That is sort of the situation with Julian Alvarez. But Ralf Rangnick hinted about another Eddie coming in, which, you know, it could be Julian Alvarez. The thing is with Manchester United, I'm not getting my expectations up for Julian Alvarez. Although there's a lot of decent and credible sources linking us to Julian Alvarez, I will not get my expectations up for us signing Julian Alvarez because we are Manchester United. You know, and all of that. Imagine the pressure put on Maguire after coming to United and being made captain. That surely it has some way to yeah. I think, look, in fairness, Maguire coming to Manchester United for 80 million, becoming captain is a lot of pressure. But if you know, to play for Manchester United, you've got to be able to handle that pressure. We are probably the most spoken about team in the world. You know, Man United are more spoken about than any other team in England. You know, if something happens with a Manchester City player, cool, whatever. You know, if Benjamin Mendy was at Manchester United, it would get 10 times more attention. If Phil Foden was at Manchester United and he was having disciplinary issues, it would get 10 times more attention. If Jack Grealish partying was at Manchester United, it would get 10 times more attention. You know, all of these players would get 10 times more. All these Manchester City players, if they're United players, they get 10 times more attention. You know, Greenwood and Foden in Iceland, who got all the attention? Greenwood. You know, to play for Manchester United, you have to be able to handle the pressure because Man United players will get more media attention than anyone else. We get the most attention thrown at us, and that's the situation. Manchester United, you've got to be able to handle the pressure. And actually, a funny thing is, Paul Pogba, that, you know what? I feel a bit sorry for Paul Pogba because what Lukaku's done is what the media try and make out Paul Pogba is. Do you know what I mean? But Phil Foden can dye his hair all crazy colours and get a fancy haircut, and everyone in the media is loving it, going, oh, Phil Foden doing the Gascoigne hair, how cool. Phil Foden got dropped from Manchester City for disciplinary issues. Phil Foden was caught in the Iceland debacle with Greenwood. The media didn't talk about, the media only spoke about Greenwood and the Iceland thing. The media has barely spoken about Phil Foden being dropped for another disciplinary issue. Paul Pogba went to a family wedding and got more attention and more media hate for dancing at a family wedding than Phil Foden has got for that incident in Iceland for being dropped for disciplinary issues. Paul Pogba dyes his hair, awful, silly haircut, silly Pogba. Phil Foden dyes his hair, oh, it's so cool, it's like Gascoigne. Phil Foden, disciplinary issue, barely spoke about. Paul Pogba goes to a family wedding dancing, people are mad about it. Graham Souness, mad about it. I do not get, you know, if you play for Manchester United, you're going to get all the attention. So you have to deal with the pressure because unfortunately, if you're not English and you don't play for Manchester United especially, you're going to be criticised. But if you're at Manchester United, you're going to get more attention than anyone else in the world because we're just a big club. It is just the way it is, to be fair. Phil Foden's overrated. Phil Foden's a very, very good player, but he is sucked off by the English media too much. Phil Foden's a very, very good player. I think he will become a world-class player, but the English media suck him off way too much. I will always say that. as well, and should have tried to get Ronaldo back years ago. We were linked to him numerous times from Real, and we could have snapped it up before he went to Juve. I'd have liked to got Ronaldo earlier, but to be fair, with Ronaldo, you know, with how inconsistent we were, I mean, we're still inconsistent now, so that's a stupid comment, but stupid comment from me. I would like to got Ronaldo years ago. I would have, but would he have worked under Jose and all of that? Who knows? It's Ronaldo. Of course, he would have worked. Actually, yeah, you make a good point. I probably would have got Ronaldo ages ago. Ronaldo doesn't play for the team, he plays for himself, therefore he thrives with goals, but the team doesn't thrive as much. Cavani is suited more to Rangnick's philosophy. Yes and no. Ronaldo does play for himself because he's a striker and his role is to score goals. But Ronaldo's role is to get service and score goals. Ronaldo is a team player. He's got mentality. I don't think Ronaldo's as selfish as people think, if you want my honest opinion. I generally don't. But yeah. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do make sure you're subscribed to Alice Talks Football. I will be live tomorrow for the Manchester United versus Wolves watch along, so please do subscribe because I will be live at 5:15 tomorrow for the watch along for Manchester United versus Wolves. So any questions you have for me that I didn't answer in today's live stream, go and put them in the chat for tomorrow's live stream. For my Manchester United versus Wolves watch along tomorrow, I'll be reading as many live chats as I can. So any questions or any thoughts that you want to put in for me to read out live, make sure you subscribe with post notification bell and come to my Wolves watch along tomorrow. I will be updating you with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news throughout January. So if you do want to stay up to date with that, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and all of that, guys. But please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe down below. I am going to end the live stream here, but thank you everyone for watching today's live stream. See you next time. Smash a like. Bye.